And welcome to the Movie Madhouse. I'm Rob.
I'm James.
I'm Jason.
And our buddy.
And I'm Jim Morris. No, Ryan. Ryan, that's who I am. I usually put my name on my clothes so I remember what my name is. But I forgot today and thought I was Jim Morrison. Hi.
It's easy to get confused. I get it.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes, this topic is, I've been chomping at the bit to get you on here just for this topic.
Because you know how much I hate this topic.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Who else watches the show 24? Not this guy.
No. Maybe
now,
once.
You run two podcasts then, because you have your podcast. Go Tell Someone.
Yes, I have. Well, the podcast, the Go Tell Someone is the network. So when I started a podcast, I mean, very briefly, I started a podcast called People in Your Neighborhood. Very clearly a Sesame Street reference. But it was basically people that I've known in my life that are doing really cool things. And like once everything kind of the world changed, all my excuses for not doing a podcast were all gone. So I started this one. I just started calling up people that I knew and said, "Hey, you want to talk online and just kind of talk about what you're doing to change the world?" And what I realized is that a lot of my friends are doing like really, really cool stuff, from running crazy marathons, 90-kilometer marathons, to being in Hollywood and being in movies and all kinds of stuff. And I always blame my parents for this. My parents really made sure that we were everywhere. Like we vacationed a lot. I don't know how they did because we didn't have any money, but they made sure we got to Florida, we got to Tennessee, and we got to all these different places. So my circle of my neighborhood is actually huge because the rules for people in your neighborhood are there people that I've either interacted with or worked with or whatever the case may be. And it's quite a large group. So I started that one, People in Your Neighborhood, and that led to me looking around at other friends that I had. And I don't have very many friends, but the ones that I do have podcasts. And so I've got a friend that does a podcast called Check the Credits. And basically they take a band's worst reviewed album and they take it song by song and they just go through it. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious to listen to. And other people that we have King's X, the band King's X. There's a guy that does a podcast about that. So what we did was we created this network called Go Tell Someone. Because we want to make it very easy for people. What do we want people to do? We want things to go viral. Well, how do you go tell someone? So that's where that came from. And then out of Go Tell Someone, the 20 Years of 24 podcast kind of grew out of that idea.
Perfect. And that culminated just a couple weekends ago, didn't it?
Yes, it did. So November 6th was when the show aired. November 6th, 2001. 24 with Kiefer Sutherland and a variety of people that pretty much dominate TV right now. But at the time, it was really up in the air because it was all set to debut, I think, in October, maybe 6 weeks before. And then 9/11 happened. And then literally they weren't sure if they were going to go ahead with the show because the show was about counterterrorism and all this kind of stuff. And there was a concern that it was a little too close, a little too soon. But fortunately, they decided to go ahead with it. And what we found out through the podcast, too, is that it became very cathartic for people to be able to kind of talk about these things in a show that was kind of dealing with, this fictional terrorist world. And then when we were in the middle of a real, awakening of many ways. So
that's excellent.
Yeah. So it started November 6th, 2001. So 3 Saturdays ago was the 20th anniversary of the show. And we did an event.
And it was wicked. It was very nicely done. Like, kudos to you guys on that, because that was no small feat with the people.
All I can say is Zoom makes us look good, because when I go back and look at the footage and it's all in split screen, which is exactly what 24 was, it's like, oh, this couldn't be any better. Like it's the reason. I mean, the reason I like Zoom these days is because it's nostalgic. Between 24 and the split screen, there's also the Brady Bunch effect. Right, of the idea of having like multiple people on screen at the same time and looking at each other and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we had this idea out of the podcast. This is an idea I had a couple years ago, and was actually going to be a physical convention. But then we realized it was better. It was going to make more sense to do an online convention. We did that, and we just invited. We've talked to on our podcast. We've talked to 44. I think the count is right now. People from the show. We've talked to the cinematographer. We've talked to directors. We've talked to multiple actors, and of course, we had this guy that used to be on the Lost Boys. He came and talked to us for about a half an hour, and it was a lot of fun.
He's looking for any camera time. That guy.
Well,
Never went anywhere, right?
Just put that camera on me.
Yeah, Donald's kid.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, Donald's kid. Yeah. That's what I called him. That's what. And the crazy thing is, here's the crazy thing about that. Like, Kiefer's a musician, right? So my wife and I went to see him a couple years ago in Michigan. It was awesome. He literally hung out after the show for like an hour and a half, signed autographs. He was super accessible. And I was the 24 huge fan. And I think I mentioned one thing about 24. I had like 50,000 things that I wanted to say, but I didn't want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
So I said, I really like your show. And I think we left it at that. And then we just talked about his music. Super nice guy. So then we had him on the podcast in the spring, and we put it up in the summer. And so we've talked now twice. I brought up that show. He had great memories of that specific show. It was a lot of fun. And then, so we get to this, he shows up on the anniversary. The couple of people involved in the show. He's busy. He is incredibly busy. And he had told us that if he could do it, he was going to try to join us. But then when it came close, he realized I'm overbooked. But the producer and the director got behind it and said, "Hey, you got to be at this thing. We're all showing up. You got to be there." So they twisted his arm, which, I mean, he's had his arm twisted several times on the TV show 24. So
that's true.
Many and a lot more. So he joined us, and he did a Q&A with us for an hour. And when I went to introduce him to my moderator, I said, and I didn't plan this at all, I said, "Rachel, Kiefer, Rachel." Like we were old friends and we'd gone to high school together or something. It sounded so arrogant. Like, "Oh, this is my buddy Kiefer. Why don't you guys have a little conversation?" But by that point, I was so exhausted and just ready for him to, like, once Kiefer was on, I could breathe easy. It was like, okay, we did it. It went well, and we'll keep going with the day. And then at that point, I was just laughing. But and not because Kiefer's like a high maintenance guest by any stretch. He is literally the nicest guy.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, he came on between 5 and 6.
He did.
And the moderator, she was joking, but she goes, "The following takes place between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m." And somebody else happened to say it.
The following takes place between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. Standard Eastern Time.
Ryan pulled that out as a little soundbite and sent it to me, and we both kind of geeked out for a minute.
So on the day of, I literally was like, "I'm done. I'm going to shut this whole down. I can go home." Like, that was unexpected. He did it. He just did it like he was supposed to, and the crowd went nuts. And I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Well, good night, everybody. I'm going to sleep for the next 3 days.
Oh yeah, when a star, tags home plate again.
Yeah.
On something he hasn't for a while, of course people are going to eat it up.
Well, I think Ryan wrote this too. The very, very first time I met Rochelle Davis, picked her up at the airport. I didn't get to say anything because I was on the phone at the time, but we get in the car and it's dark. And I said, "Oh man, it looks like it's going to rain." From behind me, she goes, "It can't rain all the time."
That's beautiful.
I can put you back on the plane now because my world is done. This is good.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Exactly. Now, if we can only get George Papard to say that to us.
Well, that'd be quite the feat.
Oh, that'd be very good. Yes.
I hope we can have a say on.
That's true. All right, let's get to why we came here, because this is exciting. We are going to recast 24.
Yeah.
And just as a heads up, we have added one character because we focused on season 1, but 24 is not 24 without Chloe O'Brien. So
right. True.
We added her to this list because of how crucial she is to Jack.
Yeah.
You would know
I assume
if you watch.
I assume. Again, I did not watch the show, and I've only watched the first 4 episodes to prepare for this. So,
but
I'll make it work.
But did they change your life? Did those first 4 episodes change your life completely?
Intrigued. It is definitely a fascinating show. Just the style of it, and like they said, the split screen and all that stuff, and it was intense. I found I was actually more intrigued with what was happening with the daughter.
Right.
One, yeah,
Like her whole abduction thing.
that'll change in season 2.
I know there's like I have a feeling as to where that's going, but it's still.
And I think that's only in the first half of the season.
The intensity. It was most intense in some of those scenes that I.
Yeah. And in defense of Elisa Cuthbert and Kim, she was. I mean, I don't like to play favorites, but she was one of my favorite interviews. Like she was just so open and just like she was such a kid when she got on that show, and her story of getting on that show is pretty amazing. There's a story that she tells us about being at Alanis Morissette's house. She goes, "I'm sorry to drop names." She was at Alanis Morissette's house and she sees the box set of 24 on her shelf. And she's like, same thing. I've arrived. I'm done. I can go home now.
Nice.
Anyway.
Well, let's start with our guest, Ryan. Who did you recast George Mason?
Well, okay. As you know, again, as you found out already, I like to talk. The issue that I had with this whole recasting is that if I recast somebody for the show, that means somebody from 24 would not have had the opportunity. And I, as a huge, crazy 24 fan, I judge all other TV shows by 24. And I just couldn't do that. So my style for what I'm doing today in the recasting is that I'm taking people from other seasons or, other things and putting them in. So I'm not actually unemploying anybody from 24 in this process.
Yeah. And see, the way we come at it is if we were going to make it right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I did it.
Who would we put in there?
Okay. So you're not going to hear George Clooney or anything like that. Like I'm going to take people from 24 and I'm going to put them in those positions.
Interesting. Okay.
And so I went with Carlos Bernard for George Mason. I think Tony Almeida, he played Tony on the show, but I mean, he's got such a range. He's directing now. He's been on everything since 24 ended. I would love to see his take on George Mason, because if you watch the first season, they're really not that far. They're both very skeptical of Jack Bauer.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I would love to see what Carlos would do with that role.
That's a neat thought.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been fun just to watch Kiefer drug, like knock out Carlos in the first episode. That would have been really cool.
Exactly. Excellent. All right, James, who do you pick?
My pick for George Mason, I went with Titus Welliver.
Ooh, I like that.
The Man in Black himself.
The Man in Black, yeah.
Good pick.
He's another guy who's been on everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is true. I remember vividly from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
The Town.
Yep.
I haven't watched Bosch yet,
No.
but he had his own show.
Yep. That's
Bosch is an investment. That's like 100 episodes or something. I got to catch up on it.
And I think they're doing a movie.
Oh,
You hear that? Yeah.
6 seasons of a movie. I did not know that.
neat.
That's the rule.
All right.
That is the rule.
Who do you got?
All right. So again, with my limited experience, George Mason I found to be a bit of a sleazeball.
Yeah.
So I went with who would make a decent sleazeball here. So
Who can out Xander Berkeley?
kind of sort of, but so I went with David Koechner.
Ooh,
Mostly
Chip.
known for comedy, right? But I
Chip
have to do some more serious stuff.
But that's okay, because Mary Lynn, who plays Chloe, is stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
And her character is anything but in this show.
That's true. She does play very anti what her normal type is.
I just think Koechner just has enough slime ball in him to bring something special to George Mason. He'd definitely be a character you would love to hate.
Very cool.
Interesting.
It's very interesting too, because like the people that we're picking are generally already not like front people. Like they're the character actors.
Yeah.
And Titus Welliver is one of those guys you just saw in several things until he got Bosch. David Koechner's the guy you see in everything.
Yeah.
But has he done like a lead role? No, he's just known for being like the best friend or champ kind or that kind of stuff. Well, I like that. That would put a different spin on it.
Well, my George Mason, this is the only one I actually have 2 picks for.
What? We can have 2?
No, but it depends on the direction I'm going to go. Okay.
All right.
I thought if this is a reboot, like if we're just starting fresh, it would be awesome to have Jason Patrick in that role.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it could very easily have Kiefer Sutherland as the George Mason, head of CTU, and just have this be a continuation.
Yeah.
Is that Narcs, Jason Patrick, or is that more Solar Babies?
That's Rush.
Was he in Solar Babies? I can't remember. Was he?
I want to say yes.
Okay.
I believe he was.
I believe he was.
He doesn't want us to
remember
remember.
that movie. I believe that was.
I've traumatically blocked it out of my head, so I don't remember. if he's
It's
in
not
that
that
movie.
bad.
It's about like babies that like the sun. I think that was the premise of it.
It's
That's
no
what I
worse.
go with.
Isn't there a lot of roller skates involved?
Oh wait, Jamie
Yes.
Gertz is actually in that too,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
Jamie Gertz is in that one. Yes.
It's
So
no worse than Swayze and Steel Dawn.
What's wrong with Steel Dawn?
Nothing wrong with Solar Babies either.
What about Shaq? Shaq and Steel.
That I passed on.
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
All right, I'm just kind of finding out your sensibilities. That's why I'm,
The preview and it goes, "It's hammer time."
I'm lifting the hood of the movie Madhouse, and I'm just kind of checking the engine.
Trust me.
Oh,
There's a couple different engines under here.
Dark corners and there's some sharp edges. Watch out.
Well, good. All right, good.
The next character we have is Sherry Palmer. Now, she's one of the ones that we were talking about. You kind of have to make sure you pair good with one of our other guests. Like,
Right. Yeah.
there's Jack and Terry, but there's also David and Sherry.
Right.
So, Ryan, we'll start with you. Who is your Sherry Palmer?
Did you call me Ray? I'm just kidding.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll be Ray. I'll be Ray.
He's
Ray's
now
good.
Ray.
Ray Harryhausen. That's my name.
Ray
No,
Harryhausen.
I'm just. You didn't say Ray. It started off as Ray, and I'm just having fun. I'm a little punch drunk today.
You're picking on me. Is that it?
No, never.
This guy is fucking stupid.
George disagrees.
R.I.P. Pouring a little out for George. Rufus.
Yes.
I was gonna say Gina Torres.
Oh.
So Gina Torres was Julia Milliken in season 2. Season
Had I
2,
got
yes.
past my first choice, that might have been my second.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Gina's been in. She's been doing 911 Lone Star lately with Rob Lowe,
Doesn't matter. She did Firefly.
and she did Firefly. Yes, that's right. She did Firefly.
You gotta say
That's all that matters. Yes.
Yeah.
Who cares
Yeah.
right now? No.
Again, she can do that kind of a role because Sherry's such a great character in that you can't trust anything she says.
Yep.
It's beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, I would go with Gina Torres.
You even see a bit of Sherry in her performance in season 2.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, very
Absolutely.
good pick.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Only if your Wi-Fi is on.
Smart ass.
Mm-hmm. So we're just waiting for Ryan to come back now because there is.
There's me and an echo.
And there's Ryan back.
Hey.
When in doubt, log back in.
Yeah, I apologize. That was on my end. My internet modem shut off and restarted itself.
Oh, okay.
It didn't like my pick.
I was like, maybe they thought I was rude. Oh, gee.
I know, right?
Gina Torres, that's outrageous.
That's crazy talk. We can't have that.
There'd be a cane coming out and just pull me off stage.
Wah, wah, wah.
Nope, wrong answer. You didn't know it was a quiz.
I don't know.
Your opinion sucks.
Load for me.
Your opinion sucks. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Give it 1 second. I think Gina Torres is a great idea. We were on James. James was just starting.
Okay.
Explain your pick again.
I picked Shana. I think I pronounced her first name right. Shana Latham. And
Oh,
I
right.
mostly from The Wood, Alien versus Predator, Love and Basketball. But she was also Blade's mom.
Okay.
Stephen Dorff's vampire kind of other better half. So I think she could do the evil, manipulative character if need be.
I like that.
And I think age-wise, she pairs well
just
with
go
my
audio.
David Palmer, which we'll get to later.
Not a big deal.
Oh, yeah. That's the surprise is who is David Palmer and is that a good fit?
Okay.
That might have been my hardest pick, David Palmer.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
Well, my Sherry now, not knowing that Sherry Palmer obviously takes a darker turn.
Surprise.
Let's wait till
my
season
picks-
2 and 3.
My pick still works though. I went with Vanessa Williams,
The singer?
actress.
Miss America for a week.
There's a singer who also acted, and then there's an actor.
The Vanessa Williams I'll talk about was the singer, former. I think she was Miss America.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actress, that one.
There's also the one from Candyman.
The one from Playboy.
Oh, right. The one from Candyman. That's right.
Candyman.
Well, here's the interesting thing about Vanessa Williams. How many other Miss Americas do you remember?
Well, I'm not American, so
Yeah. Honestly,
But
no.
none. Like she stands out because I think she was the first Black Miss America, but also because she was dethroned. Through scandal. Yeah. So I think the reason she has longevity is because people actually remember who she is.
Exactly.
What about Desiree
Yeah.
Washington?
I don't know who that is.
That the woman who accused Mike Tyson.
Okay.
Oh.
She was a contestant. She may be just a contestant, maybe not a winner.
Nah, I ain't got nothing on
I
that.
don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah.
So
Well-
my pick was Vanessa Williams, and yeah, she's got the chops.
I think
she
so.
can pull it off, and I think she'd be a good fit with my David. So
Okay.
What was that show she did? Do you remember 666 Park Avenue or something? It was with the guy from Lost. It was Locke from Lost played her husband. That was a really good one. Yeah.
Oh,
Don't know
yeah.
that
What's his name?
Terry O'Quinn.
Yeah.
Terry O'Quinn. She was great in that. It only lasted a season, but it was great.
I don't think I
Nice.
ever saw that.
I didn't either, but I was aware of it.
Well, my Sherry Palmer is a little bit different, but I've seen her in a ton of good guy stuff, but I think she has the ability to turn evil very quick. It's Thandie Newton.
oh,
Nice. Whereas she's now known she updated her name
yeah.
Oh, she did?
to the original one. Yeah, as of the movie she did this year, Reminiscence, she updated her name to it's like Tandiwa or
Oh.
I do remember.
Yeah.
Zendaya.
yeah,
Really?
Thandiwe. The name she had to change to be more marketable, I think.
Here's an idea. Pick the movie that nobody has gone to see and then change your name in that one. That seems like a solid plan.
And I'm so sorry. So many women, when they get married, don't change their last names because of,
Their professional name.
branding, professionalism. Why would you change your name when you're that big of a star?
Right.
I don't know.
Well,
Because he doesn't need
in
money
that
anymore.
case, I'm not hiring that one. I'm
No.
hiring Thandie Newton.
Anyway,
All right.
Right.
Thandie Newton wants to get a hold of me. I got to roll.
still
for
a great movie, even though no one saw it.
it. Right.
Right. Yeah. I'm about halfway through it. I didn't. I'll go back and finish it. I wasn't going to, but now I think I will. Based on your recommendation, James.
And I have seen Danny Newton in something where she does have a bit of an evil side. Rock and Rolla.
Oh, right. Yes, she wasn't. Yes.
Yes.
I wouldn't go as far to say evil in that.
Well, no, but
She's
just
conniving and
not
manipulative.
100% angel.
Yeah.
I think I go for 99.5% of the cast in that one.
Well,
She's more avenging angel.
All right, let's get to Nina Myers.
Nina Myers.
Now, someone not, beyond episode 4 may not know about the twist with Nina Myers.
I think
Right. Yeah. So we won't share what that is.
well, I think the twist is it was true what I'd already seen, that she was the mole. Yeah.
Mm.
I think the audition for that is just sit there, stare evilly at that security camera. We're going to use that shot for like 3 seasons.
Here, okay. Sorry. She literally was cast. She was the last person to be cast on the show, and the outfit that she wears on the show was her real outfit.
Oh, really?
Because they literally like we got a book. I mean, she's such a crucial character in that show, period. But the last one that actually was confirmed, and she said she ran to the set. So what she's wearing, and on 24, if you wear an outfit on the first one, you're wearing it for the entire season, right?
Yeah.
So they had to get like 12 outfits that would match what she was wearing to her audition, which I love that story.
That's a slick way to get an out.
I really hope it
wardrobe.
wasn't laundry day when she showed up.
Or lingerie day. I mean, gosh, it could have been bad all the way around.
That changes the whole mood at 24.
That's right.
Sorry, it was pajama day. I didn't know.
Casual day at work.
Who is your Nina Myers, Ryan?
Oh, my Nina Myers. Oh, well, gee. I'm going to go with Mary Lynn Ricegub.
Yes.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen what she could do with that role.
It would be interesting because Chloe is so transparent. Like, she can't lie about anything. So
Right.
It's so cool to see Mary Lynn do something like that.
To see her in a different, like, she would be not Chloe. She would be the absolute opposite of Chloe. She'd be dangerous and conniving a bit and kind of duplicitous. I looked up all these words. I got them written in front of me. Duplicitous. I have no idea what it means, but it sounded really good when I looked it up. So.
50-cent words. I'm cashing them all in.
He's playing big word bingo.
That's
now.
right.
But if you go back to Mr. Show, which is the show that Mary Lynn was on with Sarah Silverman, obviously Bob Odenkirk and David Cross. I was watching clips tonight. If you go back and see what Mary Lynn did on that show, you could probably see her doing Nina Myers. There was some really interesting stuff she did.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, James, who's your Nina?
Okay, I don't know if you've heard of this actress, but I went with Angela Featherstone. Now, I had seen her back in the 90s. She was, oddly enough, Chloe on a couple episodes of Friends.
Okay.
The one that Ross cheats on Rachel with. She showed up in Con Air. She had shown up in Zero Effect, Wedding Singer, who I think it was the girl that dumped Adam Sandler's character. But I had also seen another movie in 2001 called Soul Survivors, that kind of like a mind trip movie that didn't do very well. But she had kind of an evil.
Eliza Dushku?
No.
Is in Soul Survivors?
Yes, she was also in that. But Angela Featherstone is sort of a secondary character, but sort of a darker character. And I just thought she had the look that she's very pretty. She'd be someone that your main character would probably cheat on his wife for, but then could probably turn on him. In this case, maybe not the way that Nina Myers did, because she was just an evil agent, but she's only there for 1 or 2 seasons. No, 3 seasons. But I think she's absent from season 2 entirely, except for one shot in a deleted scene, I think. I think she's in one shot of a deleted scene in season 2 and then comes back for season 3.
Deleted scene? Judges?
Well, you know what I mean if you
It was
keep
filmed,
watching.
I guess.
You'll keep watching and you'll understand what I mean. Anyway, Angela Featherstone.
Okay, good pick. Jason.
Well, again, I didn't know about the turn. I kind of suspected, but I didn't know. But still, my pick works because she's friggin' badass. I went with Sarah Booth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Flipping
Yeah,
badass.
she could have done that easily.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Gavin's wife.
Yes.
Oh, okay, from that movie.
Yeah, that movie.
Last Call, The Scare House,
Last Call, Scarehouse,
SVU.
He's been putting out that she's done some amazing work in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
she's
could totally do that.
She was a good part of Last Call.
If you've seen The Scare House, you know that she could make that happen. She could do Nina Myers. Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Someone's sucking up to Gavin over here. That's
Honestly, she's
good.
what just popped in my head as soon as I started thinking about who could play Nina.
You're 100% right.
So,
Wow.
Nice. I like that.
Mine is going to the beginning of. You'll see. I'm going to start switching like characters around a bit. Okay. Because my Nina wouldn't be called Nina. Obviously, he changed his name. I pick Haley Joel Osment.
Please explain.
That's because I may have altered a few other characters
like Jackie Bauer
in my list.
Oh,
Bauer,
maybe
Jackie Bauer.
Sounds like a hockey player.
But this is why. So this is my Nina is a guy, but I like Haley Joel Osment, especially after watching him and stuff like Yoga Hosers and Tusk. Sorry,
yeah.
And
he is a great douchebag in Tusk. Come on,
right? What was the one I just saw him in recently?
Honestly, can't remember.
When I rewatched The Boys.
Okay.
Oh, right. Yes, that's right. Yeah. And he was in a show called Teachers for a while too. That was good.
Oh, that's right. I haven't seen it, but I heard
he's in a great time travel movie called I'll Follow You Down.
Sounds like Nina to me.
He did this little indie film called The Sixth Day or something like that. I remember he was in that. Sixth Sense. That one of those. They're interchangeable. Those two movies are pretty much the same. Sixth Day, Sixth Sense.
Wasn't that the sequel to The Fifth Element called The Sixth Element?
I think so.
I remember the big tagline from it. It was like, "I smell dead things" or something.
That's what
That's
right. All righty, Ryan. Who do you have for our favorite Secret Service Aaron Pierce?
Aaron Pierce, I'm going to go with. This might be a little bit of a surprise, a little bit of a shift. Our favorite insurance sales guy. I'm going to go with Dennis Haysbert on Aaron Pierce.
See, okay, I like 24 Dennis Haysbert as that. I don't know about now because I just watched him in Lucifer, and he looks about 90 years old in Lucifer.
For sure, yeah.
Mind you, he's playing God, so he needs to look old. Yeah. So
right, yeah. It's George Burns. He was playing George Burns as God. That's what it was. I just reached way back on that one. I don't think I've ever actually seen Oh God, but I remember George Burns was in it. That's as much as I remember.
I know I watched those movies way back when, but I don't remember much of them. But I do remember that how George Burns was.
Yeah,
he was kind of emulating George Burns.
Yeah, interesting. No, that's what I thought of him as being that kind of stand-up guy. You know, like Aaron Pierce was known throughout the series for just being, there. And being, where he needed to be at the right time.
Wait, what's one of my words? Stoic. There we go.
Stoic. That's the word. You looked at the same dictionary I did today.
I think it'd be cool to see Pedro Serrano as Aaron Pierce. Okay. Ooh. Worshiping to Joe Boo.
I keep forgetting that's him.
That's him for Major League. Yes.
Oh my.
Wow.
Stand there with his bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken ready for his voodoo sacrifice. I think it's a perfect pick.
I ends up drinking his rum.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Really sick.
Joe Boo needs a refill. Smack with a bat. Yep. God, I love that movie. James, who is your Aaron Pierce?
My Aaron Pierce, I went with Brian Van Holt. Now, most recently, I had seen him in a few years ago. He was in Den of Thieves, but back in the early 2000s, in just a few years span, he was a very military actor. He did Black Hawk Down. He did Wind Talkers. He was in Basic, and then he was in SWAT.
Oh, okay. I know who you mean.
So I thought he could fit the profile of a good, very straight-laced, militaristic kind of guy who's gone Secret Service.
I remember. Yeah, Basic is really good. I remember that one. Okay. Good pick. All right, Jason, live up to that.
This one's an oddball again, but I see this actor a lot, and he again mostly comedy. But when he does pull it back, he's just engaging. Stephen Root.
Yes. Barry.
When he's not on, when he's just serious,
Yeah.
he is.
So you should see him in The Empty Man. Although I just haven't seen him in a militaristic or government role.
I think he would do well. Like he plays, and again, it's a comedy, but on Big Bang Theory, he plays Bernadette's boss, and eventually Penny's boss, and he is the much more serious. And he has a couple moments that he's done a bunch more stuff where he gets more dramatic, and I think he could do well here.
Well, see, this is impressive because you don't even know this. Stephen Root shows up on 24.
Oh, all right.
There you go.
Season 8, I believe.
Well, I didn't mean to steal your plan.
No.
Oh,
No.
right. Didn't know it.
Did anybody see Stephen Root and Barry?
Oh, love him on Barry.
Oh, he's amazing on Barry.
So I was trying to think of that really brought this to mind.
Yeah.
Fantastic on Barry. And if you have not watched Barry, you should.
Yeah. There's not a lot to catch up on.
Bill Hader crushes, and Henry Winkler finally got an Emmy nomination.
See, this is where the problem runs in when you get into these shows, because they start throwing out names and movies and stuff, and you leave with a list of stuff you have to watch.
Exactly. Yeah, that happens to me a lot.
Okay, my Aaron Pierce is he has got a big name lately, so I don't know if my budget would ever be able to afford him. But I think he could pull off the military guy really cool. Apparently, he's got one on Amazon that I haven't seen where he's a military guy, but it's Michael B. Jordan.
Oh,
ooh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
he is big ticket. He
is big ticket. And my only worry there is he wouldn't be like Aaron Pierce, where he's in the background, and you don't see him until he wants you to see him. You'd be looking at the background going, oh, there's Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He doesn't really fade in.
Exactly. But I think he would still nail the role.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've seen enough of the range from him that he's all over the charts there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Time for Terry Bauer. One half of the Bowers.
I'm going to go with my favorite of all of Jack's tragic loves. I almost had a panel. I was so close. This is crazy about this show. This event we did is that the week before the event, I had at least 15 to 20 actors that were all like, can we be a part of this? Can we be a part of this? And I'm like, there's a couple that I had to say no to, which is surprising because they didn't really fit anything in the panel or their schedule didn't work. And only a couple of those. But the two that came on board were Annie Wershing and Kim Raver. Like almost on the same day, they both emailed me and said, "Can we be a part of this?" And I was like, "Yes, I will find a place for you in this whole thing." I'm going to go with Annie Wershing.
Nice.
And of all Jack's tragic loves, she's my favorite. She could match Jack, hand to hand. Like she was at par with Jack Bauer for sure. And she's also somebody who's been on everything. She showed up on Timeless. She showed up. What's she doing now? She's the board queen. She's the new board queen on is it Picard?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just watched her on the Runaways.
Yes, the Runaways. Yes. She's been on everything. She's absolutely been on everything.
Annie Wershing, is that her last name?
Annie Wershing, yeah.
I don't think I know her.
And I see her as Terry Bauer. I think that would have been a very interesting.
Go to see her.
Okay.
She's one of those character actors. Like you go, oh, her.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And she's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Renee Walker from 24. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Renee. Yes. I should have said her character name. Yes. Yeah. Renee Walker. Yeah. I mean, I liked all the others. Certainly Connie Britton was in there for sure as one of, Jack's tragic loves. She's still alive as far as we know, but Annie's my favorite. She was amazing.
Oh yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah. You recognize her the minute you see her.
Yep. Oh, her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She did Bosch. She did she's done everything. I mean, yeah. She's great.
Good pick. James.
Thank you.
Who do you got?
For Terry Bauer, I went with Kim Dickens.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
I had seen her in several movies, and most recently would have been Gone Girl. She was one of the cops investigating Ben Affleck's character, but she had also had her own run in a few shows. She was Joni Stubbs in Deadwood.
Yes.
She was a big part of the first 4 seasons of Fear the Walking Dead.
She's from Sons of Anarchy.
She was in Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, she was.
I think that was before I got to it, but she was also in a film directed by and starring Kiefer Sutherland, Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she was. I love that movie.
Yes.
That's right. That's a good pick. Nice. Very cool.
Mhm.
Jason.
My Terry Bauer might be a little high ticket now that I think about it, but again, fits well with down the road. I went with Karen Gillan.
Oh,
She's making that Marvel money, so she might be a little out of her price range, but she's badass, and now I haven't really seen her play like a motherly type role, but she's
Right.
definitely in the right age range.
Nebula.
Motherly?
I'm sure she's feeling motherly in her.
No. Hell,
Yeah,
she barely feels sisterly.
I think the only non-Nebula role I've seen her do was Oculus and
Yes. Jumanji?
The Circle. Oh yeah, I suppose Jumanji. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like many people. My first love was her as Amy Pond on Doctor Who.
Which
So
I've yet to see
Okay.
of Doctor Who.
Me too. Me too.
yeah, so
Add that to the list.
Yep.
and not only does she, in my mind, fit well for my Jack, but she fits well as the mother of my Kim.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. This will be interesting. All right. My Terry is again a gender swap because of how I have Jack and the whole thing. But I think Liam Hemsworth would be a good pick for
The budget Hemsworth. Got it.
Yep.
I think you're thinking of Luke Hemsworth.
I was
The Billy
Billy
Baldwin. You're talking about the Billy Baldwin of that group?
Baldwins of the Hemsworths. That's right. See, this way, because again, Terry can hold her own against certain things. Like when you see her with the dad, we'll put it in quotes.
I suspected that from day one, just because of who the actor is playing him.
Yeah.
I suspect that he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Just because that guy doesn't play good guys.
Well, so I think depending on how they rework day one for this cast, he would be a very cool Terry.
Okay. I haven't seen enough of his acting, but he's a Hemsworth. Come on.
Hey, I'll say this: Most Dangerous Game. If you can find it's on Roku. It was a Quibi thing that that short, like 7-minute episodes. The Most Dangerous Game he did. Because he's the Hunger Games guy too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I liked him in Hunger Games, but he wasn't in it enough. But The Most Dangerous Game with Christoph Waltz is it's very 24 level, and with the Quibi thing, it's like it's only the equivalent of a movie. Like when you watch the whole thing, it's about an hour and a half ish. But Most Dangerous Game, if you like Liam Hemsworth, and if you don't like Liam Hemsworth, you should check that out because it's very well done.
For about 5 minutes, and then Van Damme.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember that. I do remember that. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah,
Now we're on to one. Like I said, without her, there's nothing.
there's no show.
No. Who is your
I only
Chloe?
did 2 seasons before she came, but there's no show.
I'm going to go with you. This might be a little bit of a shock. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Elisa Cuthbert.
Interesting.
Elisa Cuthbert, partially because of Happy Endings. She did a TV show with Damon Wayans Jr. and Eliza Coupe called Happy Endings. It ran 3 seasons. It is, if Friends was funny, let me just say that. It's like that. Yeah. Friends was great for the first 5 seasons, but then when they repeated it the second 5, I got a little tired of it. Yeah. But Happy Endings, and I want to say New Girl were kind of in that same vibe. Like New Girl, I wasn't hooked on from day one. Happy Endings from day one, I just thought the 6 of them had great chemistry. Adam Pally's in it. It's a really good cast, and she could do comedy. That was where
See,
I got that from.
I like her in anything. Like even her cameo in Love Actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's so good in that.
I fell in love with her hard in The Ranch
Yeah. Yeah.
Ranch.
on Netflix with Ashton Kutcher, Sam Elliott. She plays
Right.
Ashton Kutcher's love interest. Like
Who's the girl?
Alicia Cuthbert.
Oh,
Elisa
okay.
Cuthbert. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I adore her on that show.
I got to watch her on 24. That's where I first saw her. But then I
Yeah.
saw The Girl Next Door, and that movie, it's like sold.
Yeah, the girl next
Yeah.
door.
Right. Yeah. She just did an indie with Tony Hale called Eat Wheaties.
Oh yeah,
It was really good. I liked it.
nice.
Just came out this year. But sorry, you were saying Girl
Very-
Next Door.
Oh yeah, that to me that's one of those perfect movies that you can just
Yeah,
sit
yeah.
and watch, and it's so funny. Timothy Oliphant, like
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
the Oliphant, fantastic.
right?
the
Please is worth it.
elephant in the room.
Yes. James, who's your Chloe?
I thought it was funny that he mentioned New Girl because my Chloe is Zoe Deschanel.
Oh yeah. Oh, that would be a great fit.
I thought she could fill out the super neurotic role pretty well.
Yeah.
James, you're making me change my pick.
Chloe has
You know, half the time watching the New Girl is to watch her reactions to stuff. And that's the same thing that happens on 24. Is like you're watching Chloe's reactions to I'm going to change my answer. That's a really good one.
yeah.
I wanted to do over.
My
Oh,
work,
that's good.
my work just hosted like a Christmas thing for us at the drive-in
Yeah.
where they had a screening of Elf.
Okay.
Nice.
Christmas with the Crank. So Zoe Deschanel is a big part of Elf.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in love with her. So yeah, I'm changing my answer. I'm going with Zoe Deschanel.
We got three Zoes apparently.
Done.
And I couldn't work with the character, so I was just picking Nerd Girl. And I'll admit I did have Allison Pill marked in there. Just 'cause she's a nerdy girl that kind of fits that role too. But I really like the idea of Zoe Deschanel. So
That is a good pick.
Did Allison Pill do Cult? American Horror Story? Was that Allison
I
Pill?
didn't watch any of those.
Okay.
I'm familiar with her from Scott Pilgrim, and she was on the show The Newsroom.
Oh, right. Yes.
Those are the
I think
two
she did. Did
I
she do
know.
Picard? I think she did Picard. If I'm not mistaken.
Never.
I
I
could be
haven't
wrong.
watched that.
That's
I
good.
could be wrong. Okay.
Don't remember.
She was in that Jessica Chastain movie, Miss something.
Miss Sloan.
Yes.
Congeniality.
Yeah.
Let me see. Mine again. I did a little switch up because I saw this guy in Dune, and I thought with his look, and then I watched a couple other things that he did. Just he could have that neurotic edge that Chloe has easy, and his
Okay.
name's Timothy Chalamet.
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 Yes.
Oh, he's a French.
He's definitely
Chalamet.
going to be big ticket.
Oh, probably.
He's big star.
Yes,
That's the whole budget right there.
But
but
This is your Chloe.
that's my Chloe.
What's his
And
name?
he's Timothy. There's two E's at the end.
Timothy Chalamet.
No. What was his name? You're not going to call him Chloe in the show,
Charlie.
Charlie.
I don't know. We're gonna write it. I'm just casting.
His name is
Morning, Charlie.
Right?
Clovis.
Clovis.
Just gonna call him COVID. Just call him
Yes. Damn it.
COVID O'Brien.
COVID. No,
You know how many kids are gonna be born in the next 10 years called COVID? Come on.
no doubt. It's gonna be a new name trend. You know it.
Yep.
I'm thinking about changing my 25-year-old's name right now.
Okay, Ryan, who is your Tony Almeida?
Tony Almeida. Keeping with my theme, and because I love this guy, and I loved this guy before, but even more so after getting to know him a little bit through the convention and that, Carlo Rota. And he's Canadian. Canadian-ish. Carlo Rota. So Carlo Rota is Morris O'Brien on 24.
Oh, very good. Okay.
But even more than that, he's Yakavetta from the Boondock Saints.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So he's, those two kind of solidified that for me.
I'm having a shitty day.
Yes.
They just announced that they're apparently working on a Boondock Saints 3, and I'm torn.
Woohoo!
They are. Yeah.
Don't know. I just don't know.
How do you not know?
Like,
I'll
I
take
want
it.
but I don't want it. I'm afraid of what we might get.
I'm sorry.
Awesome.
I'll take it.
That's what we'll get.
No. How many of these retro reboots have we seen that actually work?
I think
Uh,
50-50.
4%.
With
I've
Boondock
seen
Saints
one.
2.
I've seen one.
What?
Which one? What?
Okay.
Which one? Ghost Rider?
Ghostbusters.
Oh, Ghostbusters. I've heard of that. Is that a
Terminator?
film?
No.
Yes.
Okay. No. Dark Fate.
Yes.
Dark Fate. I will say this. I like Dark Fate. I like Dark Fate better at home than I did at the theater.
yeah.
It was just a ball of disappointment at the theater, but I enjoyed it more at home.
The biggest
A little
thing
bit.
for me, and I said it a couple times on other topics, was to see the people from the film look like grandparents. That, like Linda Hamilton,
Yeah,
made
yeah.
not very nice.
Right. Well, I think that was the point too. I think maybe not. I don't know.
But say, like even Halloween, with Jamie Lee Curtis now, it's like, no.
That's why Kelly McGillis isn't in Top Gun.
Thank
Maverick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Was it Jay and Silent Bob though that when they explained the difference between a reboot and not a sequel, a redo? But they did this really nice description of the difference between a reboot and what's the other phrase?
Remake,
A reboot and a
sequel.
remake and a sequel.
Yeah. But they laid it out really nicely what the difference is. So I'm always confused by which one is technically, because Dark Fate's technically a
sequel.
continuation,
Right.
as opposed
Yeah,
to
that's true.
as opposed to Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider was a complete reboot, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, I sorry, I didn't mean to get off on that side note of.
Beautiful segue. I'm going to jump to mine right now. My Tony Almeida from Tomb Raider is Alicia Vikander.
Oh.
You said it right too.
Tony works.
You said it right.
Don't have to change her name.
There you go.
Oh,
I just call her Alicia. On my phone, she's just Alicia V because I can never say her name right when I call her.
Right? Exactly.
Hey, Alicia. Oh, is this Alicia Keys? Oh, sorry.
Wrong, Alicia. I missed that.
Yeah, sorry, I misdialed.
Hate when that happens.
You know, it's
James.
embarrassing.
Who's your Tony?
my Tony Almeida, I went with Zane McLaren. Zane Zahn McLaren. I know him most
From One
as-
Direction?
No.
The only Zane I've ever heard of.
He played Matthias on Longmire. He was also one of the Ghost Nation characters in Westworld. Most recently, he was in Doctor Sleep, but I know him mostly as Matthias, one of the cops on the res in Longmire.
Okay.
James, is Longmire worth checking out?
Oh yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Now-
There's my list. I'm adding to my list.
Now, having heard that from James, ask other people. Okay.
I trust James.
Really?
I wouldn't trust the other James Taylor, but I will trust this James Taylor.
That's the way to do it. Dude, where'd you go?
The beautiful thing Longmire is one of those ones that I should have watched before I talked to Katie Sackhoff,
Yeah.
but I did not. And we talked about. I tried to pretend that I knew a lot about Longmire, whereas the rule with her was we couldn't talk Mandalorian at all,
Yes.
which was fine because she's done 80,000 other things.
Yep.
She's done so much, but the Longmire came up. I said, which role are you most remembered or recognized for? And she said Longmire, and I was like, oh, that's great. And I had no questions because I didn't know what.
Were you a cop in that show? Yes. There you go.
Yeah, she's a great Longmire.
Are you Longmire? Were you Miss Longmire? No. All right. Sorry.
It is a great modern Western show.
I watched
Okay.
the first few episodes and I wanted to keep going, but something came up and I just haven't gone back to it.
Right. Okay. I'm
It-
going to check it out.
And then what it was is when I went to go back to it, it was on season 3. It's like, oh crap, that's a lot to catch up on. I'll wait. And now it's on like season 5, and it's like, screw it.
And then it
Yeah.
started on A&E, and then it jumped to Netflix.
Yep.
And then the episodes got longer, so it was just more of a good thing.
Yep.
Longermeyer.
Yes.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Jason, who's your Tony Almeida?
My Tony Almeida is a guy named David Ramsey. He played
Oh,
Charlie
yeah.
Dingle on Arrow.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, he's badass. He can play soft, but he can also be a little sneaky and conniving because he takes a bit of a dark turn at one point in Arrow and all that. And
Yep.
yeah, I think he would make a good
Tony certainly does that. Not that you would know.
I agree with your choice for the mere fact that he'll no longer be remembered as John Diggle. because it's like
He needs to move on.
he is so badass on that show, and you're like, but his name's John Diggle. I laughed every time they said his name.
When they finally gave him the hero name of Spartan, I'm like, oh, finally.
What was his?
He didn't have him. He was just a badass ex-Marine bodyguard.
Yeah.
student.
Bodyguard.
It's like high-tech gear.
Yeah.
Batman.
Down the road, he ends up getting high-tech
Batman.
gear.
Gets a silly helmet.
Batman.
Yeah, he does. So-
Batman doesn't use guns. Diggle shoots everything.
Red Hood.
Even
Red Hood. Okay.
he even does dress up as Arrow for a while.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
So
I like that.
Now, Kim Bauer. This is going to be interesting.
Kim Bauer. Which one was she? Oh, she was the daughter, right? Okay.
That
Yeah.
was the young. Yeah, that's right. The blonde.
Am I going first again?
Yes.
I didn't want to be rude. I'm Canadian. I just want to, make sure that I'm
Sorry.
going in turn. Sorry.
don't start that. We're all Canadian. We'd just be sitting here saying sorry to everybody.
3 hours later.
It's like the Canadian news team from Anchorman 2. Sorry.
Sorry. I'm gonna go with. I'm going outside of my rules here. Ivana Milicevic. It takes some practice. Ivana Milicevic. So Ivana grew up in Troy, Michigan. I spent a lot of time in Detroit as a kid, and there was this girl that was a friend that hung out with us a lot, and her name was Ivana. And so that I hadn't seen her. We hung out for about 3-4 years. She was really great, always in a group. And then like 7 or 8 years later, maybe a little longer than that, I'm watching Casino Royale with Daniel Craig. And Le Chiffre, who's one of the characters, had a girlfriend in the movie. And I looked at this woman and I went, man, she really looks familiar, but I could not remember where I knew her from. And then a year later, I went, oh my gosh, I grew up with her. Like she was in a James Bond movie. So she moved to LA pretty much right after high school was done. And she wanted to get into film and get into TV. So she did that. So Ivana, I would cast as Kim Bauer. If you've watched, and if you haven't seen the show Banshee.
Oh, yeah.
With Anthony Starr.
The guy from The Boys.
From The Boys.
Homelander.
So his show, Homelander show before, it's probably the show that got him Homelander, to be honest. It's only 4 seasons, and Ivana played his love interest in the show. And there's very few shows that I will ever compare to 24. The two that I would say pace-wise and pulse-wise are Prison Break and Banshee. Those are the two that are like the stakes are so high with every single episode. But Ivana Milicevic is the person that I would put in as Kim Bauer.
Very, very nice.
Because she would have held her own in season 2 and season 3 against Wildlife.
Exactly. James.
Okay, mine, you probably don't recognize her unless you've seen a couple of key TV shows. I went with Daniel Rose Russell, and she played character Hope Michelson on the originals, which spun off into Legacies. And those were both spin-offs of The Vampire Diaries.
Yes.
Now, you get Kim Bauer, who's the daughter, just basically the daughter in peril in the first season, but then coming back in season, not so much season 2, but season 3, she becomes an agent herself, Jason. And
surprise.
And
once you watch it, you'll
and
see.
on the show, she can kick a little on the show for originals. She kicks a little ass herself. So she comes into her own as a tough character,
Okay.
which I think Kim also does on 24.
Yeah, okay, I could see that. Jason hasn't, but yes, I could see that.
Here.
If I would have known I was going to get abused like this, I would have shown up for this one. All right. Jeez.
Jason, who's your Kim
I don't know
Bauer?
if I want to share anymore.
Sure you do.
You're right.
You know what? I got to say, Jason, I like your perspective having not seen the whole thing. I think this is it's very fascinating to have seen the first 4 episodes and then jump into it like this. You're very brave. You're very brave.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I have to admire his picks because some of his thought process actually pans out in a lot of the other seasons.
Yes.
So,
Stephen Root was a good one.
Well, my Kim Bauer, again, had to fit the family dynamic. Well, my Karen Gillan, her mom, is a redhead. I went with a girl named Sadie Sink, who's kind of breaking out right now.
I was almost hoping you'd say Mia Kirshner. I'm like,
No. Her name is
Show,
Sadie.
buddy.
Again, I'm casting this as if I was making it today.
Yeah.
Sadie Sink, a young actress who's just coming up now. She was on Stranger
Kim Possible.
Pardon?
Was she in Kim Possible?
No.
On the Goldbergs?
Stranger
No.
Things.
No, she's in Stranger Things.
Okay.
Comes in season 2.
As
I can't remember her name, but she's the red hair girl.
oh, her. Oh,
But she's also in the Fear Street series.
I haven't seen that, but I
Which
have seen Stranger
I
Things.
watched all 3 movies of the Fear Street trilogy.
Yes.
And she's really great in it. I think she would make an excellent Kim Bauer, and she again fits with the mom being Karen Gillan.
There you go.
I think that would definitely help with the resemblance aspect.
Interesting.
Nicely done.
And
She was in Eli too. Eli's a good film
Eli
with Kelly Riley.
don't know that one.
Kelly Riley.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Yellowstone.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, Sadie Sink. That's a good call.
She is such a no bullshit badass in that show.
Yes.
The fact that
I'm going to recast Kelly Riley now. I'm going to see where I can fit her into the rest of our conversation.
oh god, she's Jack Bauer.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Oh, you're right. Done. I'm going first, so I get to use that one.
See, my Kim again. I'm kind of reimagining this whole show now for today. You know, changed up my. Oh my God.
You're gender swapping everybody.
I changed up my Nina, changed up my Tony, changed up my Terry. So with who I've chosen as Jack, Kim can't be that old. So I went through, this girl's only done a few things. The one thing that I did see her in was something called Cynthia, and it was a horror movie. But when I saw her, I thought, man, her look would be so cool on the show. I am going to just share screen just so you can see her. Her name is Caroline Jennings. And
Caroline Jennings. No,
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. I'm just kidding.
well, dang it.
I was thinking of the other Caroline Jennings.
Yes, that's like the other Jamie Keller.
So what else is she being in?
She's in a show called Cynthia, but she did 2 short films, and she has one coming up that I have not seen yet called Yesterday Today. That one I've heard of, but it's not out yet.
Just curious, how old is she? Because looking at that picture, she looks really.
She is 9.
Okay, so you're really.
Oh, you're recasting Kim Bauer really young.
Yes. Which, if you're going to try and relaunch this show,
Right.
adds for new peril that
Yeah.
Kim can get into.
Yeah.
Right.
They wouldn't have to take it quite as dark as what I've seen with Kim so far in the first season, because it gets pretty freaking dark with her.
Yes.
Oh yeah. You haven't seen the
I know.
Yeah.
Shoot him again. Shoot him again.
Her friend. Just what happens to her friend was brutal.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Janet York.
Is he Fun Boy yet though?
Fun boy. Oh, Michael Massey.
Yeah.
I think I did.
Oh, right.
I'm
Yes.
He looks a little
100%
different because he's got short hair.
He's in
Yeah.
he's one of the main antagonists for most of the first half of the season. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I recognized him there.
All right. Now we're down to what I consider the top 2.
Oh my.
David Palmer.
Scared. David Palmer.
Who are you casting as the running candidate for president?
I'm going to go with Roger Cross. Going with Curtis Manning.
Oh, very nice.
Going with Curtis. Curtis.
What's
Well, I don't want to ruin anything, but Curtis deserved a better shot. Oh, that's a bad choice of words.
Yeah.
Curtis deserves Curtis. Not that he fares much better than anyway.
I can let you in on this. Just
It doesn't matter.
so you understand. No. See, he was an agent with Jack, but Jack
Right.
ended up shooting him in the throat.
Right. Spoiler. Yeah.
That's why he needs a better. Like that's why I love that joke. That was
Well, it's one of those when you watch that show. We talked about this. We were talking about this before. I think before we started, the idea of which ones Jack enjoyed and which ones Jack hated doing. Right.
Yeah.
And Curtis was one of those that he hated. Some of the other characters, he took a great. When you watch it, there's a great glee in when he actually executes somebody. There's I don't know how many hundreds or thousands on the list that he actually goes through and actually kills, but they're usually like quick people you don't know, like the Red Guard, the stormtroopers. You don't really know who they are. But then there's there's several kills that he does where there's a special kind of, you almost see the Lost Boys in him. David, you see David resurface when he's like, boom, you don't know anything, boom, and he just does it. But then Curtis Manning was one of those that he really, really didn't want to do. And that really, for the fans, that could have been really divisive because it was such a hard call. But when you watch it again, it's like, it's the only call he could make. Like, it was
Exactly.
It was that's what Jack Bauer's known for, making the calls that nobody else will.
There's a terrorist that is now trying to come around to political life. Okay. He wants to blend. But Curtis has history with this guy and can't see him as anything but. So they finally get to a position where the president's going to give him, immunity, and he's going to help, and Curtis grabs a hold of him. So the only thing Jack can do is take down Curtis.
Yeah. Wow. And Roger Cross is Canadian, but Roger Cross has done Continuum. He's done like just a steady group of. He's on Coroner right now with Serinda Swan. He's everything he does is really interesting. I think he could have brought that presidential, David Palmer kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Not many people could.
I think you're right.
Oh, okay.
He's another one of those guys. Oh,
yep.
That guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You recognize him when you see him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's again 20 for so many people though. 24 became what got them on the map and put them like we're casting agents. We're like, oh, you did 24. Please come join us as fast as you can.
Yeah.
It really changed a lot of careers, more so than others, from what I understand.
All right, James, who is your hopeful presidential candidate?
It took me a while to find an actor that I could put in the same league as Dennis Haysbert, who would be at a similar age at that time. Not so much today. It'd be almost like, well, I'd want to cast Dennis Haysbert again, but he's a lot older now. So I went with Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh,
Also someone who would match age-wise, I think, with Shana Latham.
Right. Yeah.
Nice pick.
You went with OJ.
Oh, right.
If the glove fits, that he's the president.
That's right.
All right, I like it.
The new election process.
I want to change mine. I would go back and recast OJ Simpson now. I changed my answer. No Roger Cross. I want OJ Simpson.
You could get him for a song because I hear he needs work.
Or Cuba Gooding. I don't want Cuba Gooding Jr. I want Cuba Gooding. I want his dad. I don't even know who he is. I want him. Sorry, James. That was great.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, but I'm picturing Cuba as David Palmer, and he wins the presidential election, but then he's like, "Well, how much does it pay?"
I'm picturing him from Boys in the Hood. And he's got that fly grin like at the barbecue, Okay.
Boys in the Hood, 24. I like it.
Yes. Jason, who is your David Palmer?
My David Palmer. I brought this guy up in one of our lists recently for a more dramatic thing. Again, he's more well known for comedy, but he's done so much drama lately. Orlando Jones.
Ooh.
Orlando Jones is
American Gods.
American Gods. The movie Drumline has always stood out for me for him.
I keep meeting
Mad TV.
American Gods.
Yeah, he was so great at
Office
Nancy on
Space.
American Gods.
Office Space.
Office Space. Hello.
Totally presidential there.
But
Absolutely.
I think Orlando Jones would make a good fit there. Again, he's showing the drama chops for me, and I think he would be a good fit with Vanessa Williams for me.
I think you're just turning 24 into a comedy because
seltzer water.
Okay, it was just too intense, too serious. We got to soften the edge a little bit here. Right? A few more one-liners, and I think we'll be okay.
Nice. So, okay, that's perfect. You have Arnold Schwarzenegger as Jack Bauer then, because every time he kills somebody, it's a one-liner.
Yeah, exactly.
Pete.
I did. Okay. Like David Palmer. I went again a different direction. And I also kind of, my Sherry Palmer, I wanted to kind of have a nostalgic loop to it. So I actually went with Noah Weil.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And the reason I chose him is because I've just recently watched ER again. And when you get to the end of that show, his character, John Carter, is so haggard. Like he has got the look.
Well, he's
on
been
his
to
face.
Mars. I mean,
Yeah, I was going to say.
How could you not look haggard?
Especially after that movie. That movie
Long
made me haggard.
So that's why I went with Thandie Newton and Noah Weil
Oh.
because they are technically a couple from ER.
Oh, right.
And again, I think Noah Weil,
Tandy
especially
Newton was
now,
on ER?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. I only.
Hmm.
I
She
only
was
watched-
Thandie. She was Thandie then, though. That's
Yeah.
why we didn't know that.
that's right.
I was looking for Tunde.
She was also in a movie with John Bon Jovi. Did you know that?
Young Guns
I've never seen. Who? Young Guns 2?
No.
Oh, no.
Tandy Newton. She was in a movie with John Bon Jovi called The Leading Man, I believe.
Oh.
I forgot about that movie.
John Bon Jovi was in a movie called The Leading Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he didn't know he acted.
He acted for a few years. I think he did a pretty good job.
He's in Young
Oh.
Guns too.
He is in Young Guns 2.
He was in the.
Well, yeah, but Tom Cruise is in Young Guns 1.
That's right.
Blink and you miss him.
That's what almost the exact same character for John Bon Jovi.
I think John Bon Jovi was also the star of the sequel to the James Woods Vampires.
He was
There was
in
a sequel to Vampires?
Vampires
Oh,
Los Muertos.
Yes,
yeah.
Vampires Los Muertos,
It
starring
was-
John Bon Jovi.
It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't bad because of him.
I don't remember anything from it.
Not because of him. Yeah.
I watched it.
Was-
I don't remember.
Was
anything.
that? Did you watch that with Christmas Story too?
Yes.
Daniel Stern. Oh.
Just gonna massacre all the classics.
Don't mention that. No,
See?
no, don't. No,
No.
no, don't. A Christmas Story 2 does not exist. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I agree.
There can be only one, quite
There can be
literally.
only one. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Only
I
one.
agree.
Island.
We never spoke with this.
Exactly.
All right.
Edit.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
On to Jack the Man Bauer.
Jack the Man Bauer. Well, that changes my answer because I was just casting Jack Bauer.
Oh, yeah.
I had this. There's this kind of young-ish actor. He's been around for a long time. He was in The Lost Boys. I think he was in Stand By Me. A couple of obscure indie films.
Will Wheaton?
No, it was Sunderland or something like that. I don't know. There's only one Jack Bauer, and it's Kiefer Sutherland. But thanks to James, I'm changing my answer because Kelly Riley would be the perfect Jack Bauer. Kelly Riley would kill Jack Bauer. I mean, and that's terrible. That's almost blasphemous to say among 24 fans.
Get drunk.
Have you seen this season yet?
I'm up to date. I just watched.
Oh,
Episode
you watched
5
you watched the one from the weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, I did too. Yellowstone. I like her in a lot of things. She's in what's
She
the
was great in the season. My favorite. She was great in season 2 of True Detective as Vince Vaughn's wife.
Yes, that's right. She did what's the one oh gee, I gotta look it up.
She's Michael Fassbender in Eden Lake.
Yeah. She did Above Suspicion in English. She's British.
Yes,
she did a series called Above Suspicion. And the one that she's done recently is about like the 1800s and oh man, I can't remember. I'll pull the name of it anyway. Kelly Riley is amazing.
I think she's
But
in the
if you
Sherlock
watch-
Holmes movies too.
Which one?
I think she's Jude Law's wife in the Sherlock Holmes movies.
Oh yeah, she was in the Sherlock Holmes film. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Mary
But-
Watson.
Where I recognize
But
it.
Yellowstone is one of those shows that is not like it's a slow burn from like this is the fourth season that just started. I'm not a huge Kevin Costner fan. There's probably like 3 Kevin Costner movies that I've ever liked, and then I hate everything else he's done. But I didn't like Kevin Costner at all in this show, but I've grown to at least appreciate or understand him. And the show itself, it's like with each season, it just keeps getting better and better and better. But Kelly Riley, the scene at the first 15 minutes of this season, I'm not going to ruin it for anybody. That's when I knew that Kelly Riley could be Jack Bauer. Like she just emerges into the season, and you're like, yeah, she could do it. She could totally do it. I remember. It's funny. I forgot about that, but I remembered it. Thinking that at the time was she could be Jack Bauer. She's indestructible.
Kick your ass, cuss you out, and then just drink you under the table.
She's so good at all those things. And she's British, and you'd never know. She's playing a Montana like a cattle queen.
Yeah,
and it's
I'm
unbelievable.
not doing the gender swap thing. I like to pick someone who's in the same profile as the actor who's already there.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't until you said Kelly Riley that I was like, yes, she's the one. She's the one. So that's who I go with. Yeah.
Okay, James.
I originally was gonna go with someone like Joel Kinnaman, just because I'm a great fan of his work, and I thought he'd be young enough to jump right into that role. But then I thought, well, okay, how many people would watch it if the show 24 was coming on? It's Joel Kinnaman. Not a lot of people may recognize him that much.
Right.
Pretty much, this is Kiefer Sutherland, and this is the show they built around him.
Yeah.
And while a lot of the actors have done a lot of great things, I haven't seen a lot of them go on to do as many high profile things as Kiefer Sutherland has done. So I had to pick a star who I think is also pretty ageless to throw right into that, who could be the show that you build it around. So I went with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
The only thing I would worry about is building a franchise on him at his age.
I know.
Well, because they filmed it over 24 years. That's probably why.
Exactly.
I know.
Every year they'd get back together and film another segment and then move on. It would take a long time. So.
It was a tough.
It's not a Linklater flick.
It's not Linklater. Oh, Linklater does 24.
I was trying to think of someone who maybe is not quite so old, but would be as high profile, because Kiefer Sutherland was a very established name when 24 started.
Yeah.
That is true.
And Ethan Hawke, the stuff he's done in the last 10 years is my favorite. Pretty much anything he's picked up. Good Lord Bird. Like there's series that he's done. There's movies that he's done, and I've liked every single one.
Just about to say that one. Predestination. That'll mess with your head.
Very good. Okay, Jason.
All right,
your Jack.
I struggled with this one big time because, and I didn't even have like Terry and Kim yet, but just it's Jack Bauer. You know, my mind immediately went to Krasinski, and I'm like, no, he's Jack Ryan.
That's right.
You can't have him play two Jacks.
Different Jack.
Good pick though.
But and so then I initially had Zachary Levi. Very similar look to Krasinski and all, you know, but that still didn't feel right.
Very
Also
superhero-ish.
It didn't feel right. But then when I started to fire up, and then Karen Gillan came in, and then I got the daughter. So Karen Gillan, well, you want star power. This isn't huge star power, but you're going to get fans here when you bring Karen Gillan back together with Arthur Darvill as Jack Bauer. Arthur Darvill played Rory, her love interest on Doctor Who. They were fantastic together. Later, most recently, although it's been a few years, was Rip Hunter on DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
So you're building your show around Karen Gillan
and Arthur Darvill. Let's pull the Doctor Who fans over to watch the new 24. That's what I'm going for, damn it.
I thought he was going to go with, all of a sudden the actor popped in my mind who I should have picked, Bradley Cooper.
Ooh, that's too big ticket. But no, I think Arthur Darvill, I've seen enough from him. I think he would make an that's the actor's name. That is the actor's name.
I think I took some Arthur Darvill earlier. I had some rheumatism, I had some pain in my stomach, so I took some Darvill earlier. I feel much better.
Just right off the bat, just to have him and Karen working together again would be great. But I think he would bring a different flavor.
Yeah,
but you could still bring the badass, because when he was Rip Hunter on DC's Legend of Tomorrow, he was badass.
I'm grateful that you chose Rip Hunter as opposed to Vandal Savage, the worst name in all of TV comic book. Vandal Savage was just not only was just a horrible character in my opinion, but like Rip Hunter was like made it worth watching.
I'll be honest, I severely disliked that entire first season of Legends.
I know. I agree.
Oh, as soon as they got done with Vandal Savage and they moved on to what the show became, I was in. And then when Arrow ended, I just walked away from the entire Arrowverse. So.
That's a good choice. That was a good choice.
Interesting how they turned Constantine, which was an awesome show,
Yep.
to like throw him into a silly show like that.
Oh,
But at least it's still him. At least
Yeah.
it's Matt Ryan still playing that character. We could get more of that.
Broke my heart when
That's
they
true.
canceled that show. I
for
love
sure.
that character.
I dug it too.
Man.
yeah, for sure. Oh no, Rip Hunter. That's a good. I get the reference, and I think that would be a good fit.
Well,
Thank you.
My Jack, I had
I
right
like
out of
him.
the gate. You only like him because he agrees with you.
Yes.
He should come back.
Right. My Jack, I had right out of the gate, and I kind of built the show around this character
Okay.
because, again, you're building a franchise. We know there's at least 8.5 seasons, right?
I'm intrigued.
I call 9.5 because it's 12, but still.
And a movie.
And a movie. Oh yeah. We got- So I wanted someone I knew would have the appeal, but not only that, be able to do the physical stuff Jack does and have it be believable. So I went with Zazie Beetz.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And
What did I just see her in? Oh, what's the Netflix film she just did with Idris Elba?
oh, I haven't seen it yet.
They all fall.
Oh, you got it.
They shall all
The
fall
Mighty.
down.
No. The Harder They Fall.
The harder they. Yeah. Okay.
The Harder They Fall. I watched that the other day, and boy, that was good. And Lawrence Bender's involved, which gives it a lot more credibility. Lawrence Bender, Quentin Tarantino's guy.
But see, that's why I did with my Liam Hemsworth as Terry and
Yeah.
the little girl as not Alicia, Kim. There we go. It just fit that family dynamic, and
Yeah.
she would kick ass.
She's a draw right now. Too.
Yes.
Like
Yeah. She's great in Atlanta. She's great in everything she does.
I
Boy, that's good.
You're in Deadpool. So
Because see,
Yeah,
that's
Deadpool. Deadpool 2.
Joker.
oh yeah, I forgot she was in Joker.
Oh, Joker. That's right.
But that's the
Oh,
thing. You
yeah.
have if you're going to do this and you're going to put a female like you picked, you have to make sure people are going to buy her kicking ass the way Jack
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Oh, yeah. Well, that's good. I like that. See, I agreed with you.
see,
It works.
that's why I like
The love
it.
is there. The love is there.
He's just
Zazie
like,
Beetz. That's good. Yeah. I like that. This is a good list.
you were the
Now-
only one who did the gender swapping, but it worked.
Can we do one more?
Oh,
Oh yeah, we have the bonus.
yeah.
the bonus.
Is it okay? Do we have time? Are we over time?
Victor Drake, the podcasting dude. Where's your
I know.
I only had one pick for Victor Drazen,
really?
All right.
but I'm not first.
Okay.
No. I relinquished my.
All right, James.
Okay, I went with the actor who would be of similar age, who is great at doing any accent under the sun, but I think he's great at doing Russian or more specifically Eastern European accents. I went with Gary Oldman. It would
Yeah.
be great because it was
Yeah.
a great shock to see they pull off the thing and it's like, that's fucking Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
Like-
Oh yeah.
You're Drazen.
It's still a shock to realize that Dennis Hopper did TV.
I know,
Oh.
right?
But you go back to 1969. What was the movie he did with Kiefer? Was it 1969? No.
1969. Oh no.
No. Yeah. It was set in 1969.
Yeah, the
Flashback.
FBI one. Flashback.
Flashback. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Kiefer, I get the impression Kiefer called in a lot of favors for that first season.
Well, yeah,
think so.
Lou Diamond Phillips showing
Lou
up.
Diamond Phillips shows up. Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Gary Oldman would be great.
No Casey Semenko or Charlie Sheen. So what do you?
Casey Semenko. 3 o'clock high. Yeah.
I'm a pugilist.
Jason.
Again, not familiar with this character.
Oh no, make it up. Just make it up.
You just said Dennis Hoppers. I'm like, okay, who's a good actor that has range, whatnot? And for some reason, William Fichtner came to mind.
Oh, I love William Fichtner.
Armageddon. He's flying one of the space shuttles.
Yes.
And yeah.
Okay.
He and Eric Roberts are two of the most memorable people in Dark Knight.
Eric Roberts would be a great pick for Drazen. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
but
think
he
high profile enough. It wouldn't be as big a shock to see they pull off the mask and it's William Fichtner.
I'm not going for shock value. I'm just
well, I mean,
Gotta
like
go
I said,
for value.
the beginning of The Dark Knight, William Fichtner was only in that one scene, and then Eric Roberts was the other person that, like, they did really small parts, but man, they're memorable. But William Fichtner in Prison Break is amazing. William Fichtner's one.
Great things about him in that.
Yeah. I think as Drazen, I think he could totally pull that off.
Now, does that character get actiony at all?
No,
Not so much. No.
Okay. Because I have seen him do a little bit of action and whatnot.
his sons get actiony.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I went for both being able to be Russian and the shock of reveal.
Yeah.
So I went with the only guy I know that mastered the Russian language, even against Rocky Balboa,
Oh,
No.
Dolph Lundgren.
yes.
Okay. Now, is this character kind of a mob, like a boss?
He was
Yes.
Because he played that role.
Yeah.
Arrow.
On Arrow, yes. He was the bright spot. He was the bright spot in the worst seasons of Arrow.
Victor Drazen was basically a
It was still passable, though.
Serbian Serbian leader of a country, a war criminal who Jack Bauer's team, which was commanded by David Palmer, sent them in to assassinate him, and they thought they had. So that's why it was such a big shock that it was Victor Drazen was still alive.
Okay.
And like his sons are all behind the whole plot against Jack Bauer the whole first season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not
So
like
that's
Eventually, probably not right away.
But the fact that Victor Drazen's alive, it's like, holy shit, he's alive. And it's Dennis Hopper.
yes.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
And his
Ryan.
son is the supernatural dude, Angel.
Misha Collins.
Misha Collins.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. And the other son is again somebody who shows up in everything.
He's
I
yes.
have not mastered his name.
Zialko?
Yes, I can't say it.
What he said.
I'm scared that he might be on our podcast, and I'm going to just butcher his name.
Yeah, we're safe.
Well, if you just gush over how great he is,
Yeah.
especially in Heroes.
Oh yes, that's right. And Banshee.
Ryan.
Yes.
Who
Yes.
is your Victor Drazen?
Who's my Victor Drazen? I'm going to go with, again, another name that I had to practice before he showed up on the podcast. Chris Diamantopoulos. Chris Diamantopoulos. I practiced that like 10 times until I got it right. And so when he shows up and I went, hey, Chris Diamantopoulos, he's like, you said it right. And I went, yeah, I did. It's a podcast trick. You listen to other podcasts that they've done and you wait till they say their name. And then you just listen to it over and over again until you get it right. Chris Diamantopoulos is, so he played Rob Weiss in season 7 or 8 of 24. And he's gone on to do so many other things. And when we talked to him, he said he was literally ready to give up on acting. He was like, if I don't get this 24 role, like I'm probably just going to go back home and get a day job. And he said it was just a life-changing thing to even get this role. Anyway, sorry, then he gave up acting. Then he did the Three Stooges, which we talk about in depth. And I said how crazy it was to even take that role on. And again, sorry, this is an ad for my podcast, but he talks about he took that role, he said, because he was hoping that it would inspire other kids to go back and watch the originals.
Oh.
He said he had grown up doing Mo for his entire life, like watching it and mimicking it his entire life. He said he didn't think there was anybody else that could do it better than he did, and I agree.
That's a very noble motive.
But he said it was basically to say go back and watch the originals. Like this is the thing. So Chris Diamantopoulos is now the voice of Mickey Mouse on like because he took 24. So many other gigs came his way to the point where he's on pretty much every animated show that's hot right now. He's the voice of Mickey Mouse, which is beyond unbelievable. And then he just did Red Notice with Dwayne Johnson with The Rock.
Yep.
And Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot.
#1 movie on Netflix of all time.
#1 movie, yeah. And he just did True Story, just came out. So True Story is the Kevin Hart show that just came out on Netflix.
I don't want to see.
I've watched it twice.
Really?
And like I watched it twice because it's like 24. Again, I judge every show by 24. It's one of those shows where you're like, you got to go back and see how it unfolded because you can't. You never thought it was going to wind up where it does.
How did the 24 show with Corey Hawkins measure up?
Yeah, what it comes down to for a lot of like like fans hated it, right? Like a lot of fans hated it. The idea that anybody would try to replace Jack Bauer is just offensive to a lot of people, which is crazy. But we had this discussion with some of the creators, and Howard Gordon from Homeland. I said, if you had done what Star Wars did and said it's a Star Wars story as opposed to, a 24 story, as opposed to saying 24, I said, you probably would have had a lot more love for that show, because it really is. It's good. It's not great, but it's good. It's certainly better than a lot of stuff on TV. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think the brothers, I personally think the brothers should have switched. I think Corey Hawkins would have been better as the other brother, as opposed to, I think that guy would have been a better lead, in my opinion. But like I said, if you'd called it a 24 story, you wouldn't have gotten so much hate from the fans, because they were just like, no, it's not Jack Bauer. We don't want it. And what's nice too is I had all the support from this 24 Universe group. It's a Facebook group. If you like 24, you got to check it out. They don't tolerate people just bashing, oh, this season sucked, this season was bad. They're all about, just tell us what they're doing now. Like get on and say, Marilyn's we just wrote a book. Let's talk about that. So the moderator doesn't really tolerate, let's rip apart what's bad about 24. It's just it's just for fans to kind of talk about that kind of stuff. And the group actually grew. I started the podcast 10 months ago. The group grew 5,000 people organically in the last 10 months. And it's a show that's 20 years old. And people are finding it on Disney Plus. People are finding it on all these different streaming services and getting hooked on it. So anyway,
as well,
that's my soapbox. But Chris Diamantopoulos, you got to see True Story, and you'll understand why I chose him for Victor Drazen.
I first saw him on the show Silicon Valley.
Yes. Russ Hanneman.
And he's hilarious because he becomes a billionaire, and he's just a cocky asshole. Everything is the 3 commas, because when you're a billionaire, you have 3 commas in your bank account. So he comes up with Tres Comas tequila. It's a shitty tequila. And he just throws his money around, and then he gets a bad deal, and he loses a comma, and he gets depressed. And then comes back again.
TJ Miller's in that too.
Yeah, he left the show a
couple seasons in, 3 or 4 seasons.
The show, yep.
It's
a funny show, but that's the first time I saw that guy.
Like our podcast is called 20 Years of 24, but we talk about everything. We want to talk about your entire career. We don't want to just talk about what you did on 24. So we'll probably spend half the time talking about 24, and the rest is like, what are you doing now? And Chris said, I got this movie called Red Notice. Oh, okay. Oh, with The Rock. Oh, Ryan Reynolds. Sure. And then True Story. Yeah, True Story was the other one he mentioned. And boy, I've watched it twice, and it just came out last weekend.
I still haven't watched it. Dang it.
Yeah. I had some free time.
So I'm catching up.
Well, here's the thing. I watched it the first time, and then I said to my wife, I said, I think you might like this. Like it's violent. It's gritty. And I said, I think you might like it. And so we watched it again. We watched it together the second time, and she got to the end. She's like, that was a really good show. I'm like, every once in a while, my recommendations are good.
I can pick
once a year. Once a year. I know I took you to see Tenet last year, and I'm still apologizing for that in the theater. But
man, well, Ryan, thanks so much for doing this with us. This was a blast.
Yes, thank you
for sure. I probably made the show a whole lot longer just by running my mouth. But
no. This is the beauty of podcast. It's free flowing. It's what we want it to be.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. This has been a lot of fun.
Several episodes of 20 Years of 24.
See?
Sold.
There we go.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly. Well, on that note, I think for another week at the Movie Madhouse, I'm Rob.
I'm James.
I'm Jason.
And our buddy
Ryan.
Yes. We'll see you all later.
Peace.
Toodles.
I say shut up! It's a man!